Good morning, everyone. I'm Kaye here on my homestead in Tennessee. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. I live on a little over 9 acres. I try to grow my own food as much as I can and of course preserve it, and that's what you'll find on my channel: gardening, food preservation, and so much more. So please subscribe if you haven't, click the bell for notifications, scroll down and click all so you won't miss an episode. Well, today I'm very excited to bring to you a recipe for Italian pasta sauce from my friend and longtime, well, in fact, since the beginning in 2012, Mark Valeroy, who lives in Illinois, and he has developed a couple of his own tomato varieties, which I'm growing this year. But he also shared the Italian pasta sauce recipe that he's made for a long time. And I mentioned something about it on my community page, and several people said, oh, we'd like to see a video. We'd like to know how to make it. So today I am presenting Mark Valeroy's Italian pasta sauce recipe, which I canned. And believe me, I finished after midnight, and all of the canning and cooking and dishes and everything is all piled up downstairs. But I wanted to get this out to you today. It's Friday, and you'll have all weekend to contemplate possibly making the sauce and canning it. Tomatoes are coming in now, and you're going to be looking for something great to preserve. So I'm going to send you down to the kitchen with some wonderful music, and don't forget to watch the titles for the ingredients. And afterwards I'm going to post this on my website, so if you want the instructions, they'll be on my website at latebloomershow.com. Be sure and go there and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so last night I did more than Mark's recipe. His recipe calls for 8 pounds of fresh red ripe tomatoes, and I'm sure I had more than that, but the last time I made it I only came out with 11 pints, and it was one short of a case. And so I said my goal was to do 13 pints last night. So I filled the pot to the top with tomatoes, as you will see. First, you've got to get those tomatoes ready. This is the most time-consuming part, I find, is because I want to wash all of my tomatoes in filtered water. I don't want to wash them in tap water. I have to run a lot of water through my Alexa Pure, and that's very time-consuming, because the water that I boil the tomatoes to take off the skins is also filtered. So that is what takes so long. It doesn't take long to whip up the recipe. So take it away and enjoy the show. So now you've seen how I made the recipe. So I expanded my recipe, but if you want to use his exact recipe, it's 8 pounds of tomatoes, a small to medium-sized chopped onion, and 6 garlic cloves minced. The fresh basil and fresh parsley is 2 tablespoons, and a dash of salt and pepper. I used 1/4 cup of olive oil. So all that got sauteed, and then I added it. He does it the opposite way. He starts in a large pan with the sauteing and he adds the puree, but I had such a big pot of tomatoes, there was no way I was going to be pouring that. So I just added the aromatics to the puree. Then once you bring that up to a boil, then you turn it down to simmer. You add your sugar, 1/4 cup of pure cane sugar, 2 full tablespoons of, I used Redmond's real salt. You can use pink Himalayan salt. You want to use a good quality salt in your sauce. So once you've added your sugar and your salt, you're going to add your dried herbs. You add 2 tablespoons of Italian dried herbs. In my case, I had a dried basil combo because I grew so much basil last year. I had Thai basil, Tulsi, Italian Genovese, and what else? It seemed like there was something else. And I just made a dried combo of that. I used a heaping tablespoon of that, plus a tablespoon of dried organic oregano. 2.5 tablespoons of paprika. Now, I didn't have paprika the first time I made it, so I'm really anxious to try this and see if I can taste that. If you didn't have fresh, then at this point you would add 3 tablespoons of dried Italian spice. And you bring it down to a simmer and cook for 25 minutes, stirring occasionally. And the last 10 minutes you add cornstarch. I use organic cornstarch because it's just a good idea. In the last 10 minutes of the 25 minutes, then you make a slurry of 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, organic in my case, with maybe 1/2 cup of water, filtered water. And you stir it in slowly. Don't let the cornstarch settle to the bottom of the saucepan. Continuously stir until finished. It will thicken slightly. And I made a lot, so it really don't expect it to be like gravy. It just thickens a little. And there you have it. That is the recipe, and I hope you try it. Please leave me a comment below if you do. Also, leave me a comment. I have a lot of tomatoes still to do something with. So if you have suggestions, please leave a comment below and let me know. All right, let's give this a taste. I wound up with 9 plus 7 is 16 pints from last night's batch. This was left over and I put it in the refrigerator, so I'm eating this cold, and I bet you it's going to be just as good cold as it is hot. Oh my goodness. Wow. I could just eat that whole thing right now, but I'll spare you. Yes, it does have and I meant to mention, when you're sauteing the onions in the olive oil, 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now, for whatever reason, I'm out of that. I have so much dried pepper of my own, and I just haven't taken the time to grind it into flakes. But what I had is a blend of spices that I bought in Sicily. I went to Sicily, Italy, in 2016 for a web festival for Late Bloomer, this channel. And I stayed with a friend from America who married a Sicilian, and I brought back all these wonderful things like capers and dessert wine and just all these wonderful foods, salt. And so I still had these herbs, and I thought, it's got red pepper flakes in it, as well as other things. So that's what I used. I used a half a teaspoon of that because it smelled like it would be hot. And I do taste a little bit of heat in this, just a little. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me a comment, as I said. And I wanted to remind you that I'm an affiliate for 4 Jars, and these are the lids that I am using on my canning now. I met the owners and helpers at the Modern Homesteading Conference, and she gifted me these items. And I am very happy to be an affiliate, and you can use my discount code of K10, K-A-Y-E 10, for 10% off at checkout. Go to 4Jars, F-O-R jars.com. So the canning lids are stronger than maybe what you've been used to, and so I think you're going to like it. Be sure and let me know if you do. Thanks so much for watching. Please share this video with a friend, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Kaye. See you later.